Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker Down Under. I am in Australia, Melbourne, for the premiere of my movie Art Lovers Unite with Vivienne Westwood. So hence this setup for the moment. We're talking Chanel. Bruno Pavlovsky is giving more interviews. Oh, he keeps talking, honey. He keeps talking and talking and talking. And this time he's talking in Australia. It seems like Bruno is following me because, I mean, what are the odds, right? Here I am traveling to Australia, and all of a sudden, Bruno is also in Australia, actually in Sydney, giving an interview about Chanel and the quality of Chanel. Let's get to it, shall we? Subscribe to my channel first and foremost. If you haven't already, push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today, get access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon. Super Dacob, all spelled together there for extra perks. Thank you to my members and patrons who already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream every Saturday. You're all invited to join the live chats. Q and my co-chatters. Hey guys, let me shift. We'll go. So everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths. It's just for entertainment purposes only, just my opinion. Everything's alleged. Susie Q, who is Bruno? Bruno Pavlovsky. It is one of the CEOs of Chanel. He kind of is, well, he has one boss above, well, he has the Wertheimers above him. They own Chanel. Pardon me. And then there's this like new lady that took over the highest position at Chanel beginning of the year 2022. Forget her name right now. She used to work for 13 or 20 years at Unilever, and then Chanel headhunted her. I want to say Alina or Lena something. But anyway, Bruno is in Australia, down under, in Sydney at the headquarters of Chanel, giving interviews about the future of Chanel. Now, I have a sneaky suspicion he's here because Australia, well, some of the sales associates at Chanel have been spilling the tea that apparently one of the Chanel upcoming VIP boutiques, which were initially planned first and foremost for Asia, one of these boutiques is apparently coming to Australia. One or maybe even two. Kev, maybe Bruno is courting Dacob. Could you imagine? And no, Bruno just came here to talk to me, to be like, hey, Dacob, please, can you come back to Chanel and keep buying? Like, we need your money. But so he's talking about the quality of Chanel, right? And he's talking about the future of Chanel in this article. And he mentions that he, several things which really struck me from this article. One of them is him saying that Chanel is not going to go the online retailer route. They're going to still keep in some countries, because in Australia, they don't sell anything online. But in some countries, they sell perfumes, skincare, makeup, and eyewear online. And that's it. He's like, Chanel is not about fulfilling people's needs and every client's desires to purchase whatever they want to purchase. Chanel's, reading between the lines, he says why Chanel is so luxuriously famous is because Chanel sees luxury as unattainability. Because Chanel sees luxury and treats luxury as something elusive, hard to get, or impossible to get, and he wants to keep it that way. And he says luxury is also very, very high quality. And he said, since our numbers are going up and up and up, and we've done record sales last year, we have more people who want to buy our stuff. But when it comes to leather and bags, we can't keep up with demand. And it also takes a long time to train new workers to make these bags, but he never really mentions the sourcing of leather hides, which is an issue I'm having with in particular as of late, since the two Chanel bags I bought from 2022 have both fallen apart basically after like 20 minutes of wearing them. So Anyway, he doesn't talk about supply chains, but he talks about the people actually in their factories constructing the bags and the pieces, that he says it takes like up to 3 years or 4 years to train them. He needs new blood. He needs allegedly new people to come to work for Chanel that are under 30 years old, because he wants to also keep people there, and he wants them young and fresh so that he can teach them into this business to, they call them le petit monde, the small hands. Already, such a terrible way to diminish your workers, to call them the small hands that are behind every collection, the small hands that make every collection possible. I'm like, yeah, you call them the small hands because you don't want to pay them enough. And then you want them to work like slaves for you, their whole life. People are sick and tired of this. So obviously, on one end, he wants to keep Chanel super exclusive, not attainable, not available. They mention in the interview, like, for example, because he's in Australia now, they're like, yeah, in Australia, for example, certain Chanel pieces, bags, don't even hit the sales floor anymore. Why am I not focused? They don't even hit the sales floor. They are already put aside for VIP clients and for good return customers. So certain exclusive, elusive products, which the way he said it, he implied that they are artificially kept produced in smaller quantities just to make them artificially more desirable. He says in Australia, for example, they don't even hit the sales floor because they're already gone, because they're already allocated to the VIP customers. And then he also spoke about the difference in different countries, the limitations, like one bag per month in some country. In the UK, I think one bag every 2 months. So he says, well, these are unwritten rules. They vary from place to place, but then exceptions can always be made. But Chanel is going to, it wants to maintain its quality. And I'm like, why does he keep pushing this button about the great quality they have? What quality? Where's that quality? I mean, when it comes to leather and certain apparel pieces, where's the quality? Where's the quality, Bruno? Seriously, where is it? Can you please show us that? I really want to see show me. Maybe I'm missing out on the quality pieces. Maybe there's some system you have set in place, like that you can tell us, hey, this part of the collection is good quality, that part is not good quality. Let me know. Let me know. Because everything I touch is not good quality lately. Clothing wise and leather wise. I'm not talking about your perfumes. I'm not talking about your makeup. I'm not talking about your jewelry. So again, he's pushing this whole notion of we are quality. That's what we stand for. Exclusivity and the highest end quality, and Chanel luxury. The Chanel concept of luxury is we want to be above any other luxury brand. We want Chanel to symbolize luxury. And the way he positioned it, the way he phrased it, it sounds very much like, to him, luxury means unattainability. He sprinkles in the quality conversation there, but where's the quality? So, unattainability? That's not luxury to me. I mean, that it just isn't. It just isn't. It's so vulgar, Cyber Coco. I agree with you. Before you leave, paint a white tee with "Where's Bruno" in the front, and on the back, "Let's talk," or "Stop sending us garbage in the airport." Says T-Pal. Oh, yeah, we could protest. The thing is, how can they be so... Listen, then he said, we have to keep the heritage alive of Coco and Carl. And then he said, Virginie Viard is not as present. She rarely ever gives interviews, but he loves what she does for Chanel because the money is there. They sell a lot. And he keeps kind of saying, she's the best thing that Chanel can have right now. And I think to myself, I mean, she's okay, but like seriously, is she the best Chanel? Okay. He said also, everybody should be free to also be able to do other jobs. So the le petit main, the little hands, those people should specialize for us, but they should be free to also work for other brands. After all, Karl Lagerfeld also worked and designed for other brands. I'm like, that's different. He was already famous when you hired him. He had options, and the Chanel brand was like kind of stagnating. So he could also dictate his terms. And then he said, Virginie's different, but that's different. I'm like, explain to us, why is that different? Are you trying to tell us that Virginie is also allowed to work for other brands, but she doesn't want to? Or are you not letting her? He just said, but that's different. And he didn't go on. He didn't go on to explain more about Virginie, and why she doesn't design for other brands like Carl did. Or why she doesn't work for other brands like he wants the Le Petit Main to work for other brands as well. I'm like, I'm really thinking to myself, because I really love Chanel's heritage Coco. I love Coco Chanel. And you know how much I want to love the Chanel brand today, but it's like he's making it really hard for me. Because I'm like, well, what is this quality? Like, please tell me where is this quality? I want to see this. I want to see it. I want to see why you're raising prices double, triple. Now, listen, I understand that they don't want to overflood the market, oversaturate the market with products. And I understand when he says in his interview that, we keep raising prices because we want to counter the after sale market, but people just keep buying. And as long as people keep buying, we're going to keep raising prices because we try to, block off the overconsumption. Because Chanel is not supposed to be about overconsuming. Chanel is supposed to be about desirability and unattainability. Now, I get it that you want to be the best, but then be the best. Don't just say that you're the best. Because why are you the best? Because you made a lot of profits last year? Oh, I see. So we're quantifying your worth in money only. Well, but that's not quality. Money doesn't guarantee you quality. Just because you raised your bag prices so high last year that kind of made you earn more money last year doesn't mean that you're the best. It just means it could also mean that you're the best in manipulating people into wanting your product. But it doesn't mean that your product is the best. Far from it, actually. So how long are we gonna play this game of making it sound like, well, as long as we're earning a lot of money, that means we're the best? How long is that gonna work for you? When is the amount of money you're earning not gonna be equal to I'm the best anymore? Why do we have to quantify everything in money? It's so annoying because you end up, you blind yourself. You're so greedy with the money aspect that you forget that actually all that time spent preoccupying yourself about the money, being money hungry, you forgot about the fact that actually quality is what used to be the reason why your brand was the best. It was the quality, whether it be design quality, manufacturing quality, material quality. That was the reason you were the best. Not you, but the brand you work for. But now all of a sudden, all of that doesn't really matter. And all of a sudden it's like money. We earn a lot of money. We are the best. Seriously? Is that literally what our entire world has reduced itself to? I know most of us are, in capitalism and that's how it works. I'm like, okay, great. But at a certain point, you're going to end up with just one brand to rule them all, one ring to rule them all. And then what? And then that one brand that has the monopoly over everything else won't really need any more quality anyway because all the other brands will be dead. I don't want to live in a world like that. You want to tell me capitalism is healthy? Okay, well then, in a healthy capitalist structure, you have competition. It's competition that makes capitalism somewhat healthy. But if you eliminate all your competition, what's healthy about that? There's nothing healthy about that. So, lead a healthy life, because right now I don't this is just my personal opinion, you guys, but it doesn't feel like Chanel is leading a healthy life. Yes, their numbers are big. Their turnovers are big. Their profits are big as per what they are reporting to us, right? With all the dividends that were paid out to the Wertheimers in 2021, over 5 billion, what was it, dollars or euro, just to the two brothers that own Chanel. Great. That's all. Those numbers are big. But don't make a mistake to think that just because those numbers are big, the brand is doing something right in terms of quality and sustainability. And by sustainability, I'm not talking sustainability for, nature, preservation of the environment, which is super important. But by sustainability, I mean to sustain its position at the top. Long term, they're playing a very dangerous game there because the quality is not there. You should see the amount of DMs I get on a daily basis of people desperately sad, sending me photos of their brand new, newly purchased Chanel bags. Some of them timeless classics, the double flaps that cost, $8, $9, $10,000, peeling, broken, rubbing off after a day or 2 or 3 of wear. I don't show you half of it. But it's a lot. And I'm shocked every time I get a new photo every day of somebody crying their heart out because they just, and I keep telling people, I told you so. I keep telling you, but then people come for me, oh, you're just being over dramatic. Well, it's your money. Of course, drop $10,000 on a maxi double flap, but don't come crying to me after it starts peeling after a day. Because I warned you. So the brand is earning a lot of money. In terms of money, they're at the top. But that doesn't mean they're the best brand. That doesn't mean they're the best luxury brand out there. By my definition of what the best luxury brand is, they are far from it. Far from it. The service in the boutiques, lackluster, to say the least. Not everywhere, not always, but most of the times. Beauty boutiques, same issue. At least I've encountered a lot of trouble and problems here in Australia. Staff, not educated on what they're selling. They haven't been briefed, trained properly. They don't know what products they're selling. So first of all, there's that. Second of all, they're also pushing the big spenders. So you come in, they're like, okay, you want to buy a lot? You don't? Okay, well then don't waste our time. That's not luxury. Bruno, that's not luxury. Luxury is being proud of even a nail polish. You stand behind that nail polish you're selling, and maybe that's the cheapest thing you got in your store. But if a client comes in and wants to buy just one nail polish, you treat them like a king or queen. Because they're buying your product. And you're proud to sell your product. Instead, what I'm hearing from a lot of people is lately, well, I want to buy a belt at Chanel, and they kind of look at me like, oh, don't waste our time. You want to buy a belt? Don't waste our time. Come back when you're ready to drop, $50,000 on 2 outfits. $50,000 pretty soon is going to be 2 cardigans. And then, and I'm like, and this is not what the best luxury brand in the world should be, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. But that's what Chanel has become, mostly. Not always. Some of us are lucky to, have been clients of Chanel already for 10, 20, 30 years. So we have relationships to sales associates. So we still get but that treatment is there just because I've been there for a long time. If I were to begin my Chanel journey today, it would be a different story, honey. It would be a different story. I would not have that rapport, that relationship with the sales associate since many years. It would be a different story. I would not be just, oh, Dacob, hi, how's it going? Sit down, have a drink, and let's talk about what you're interested in. No, it would be a different story. If I began my journey, my Chanel journey today, it would be a different story. I would be looking into maybe buying a small leather good first. If I didn't know anything about the quality issues that they have, I wouldn't want to drop 10K on a bag. I would say, let me buy a small thing to see how it is, and then they would be like, what, you're coming here to buy a card wallet? I don't have time for that. Here, we got these 5, choose one. If you want to be a top luxury brand, you have to behave like one. It's not enough to just behave like that in interviews and say in interviews that you have the best quality. You're going to snob online sales because it's the pinnacle of luxuries and attainability and the beauty of it, of going into a Chanel boutique. Don't just say it in interviews, make it a reality. Make it beautiful for people that go into a Chanel boutique to actually have an experience. Instead of just giving up on them because too many people want the shoes and this and that. So let's open VIP boutiques for the big spenders. There, Chanel will deliver the exclusive luxury treatment to their clients. But the regular Chanel boutiques are what? Are going to have shitty customer service? Interesting that Bruno did not touch base at all in that interview on the topic of the VIP boutiques. He did not talk about that at all. I mean, I'm dying to know what his thoughts are on, because I would ask him first and foremost, like, you're talking about Chanel as if it were the pinnacle of luxury, and yet you are starting to create first class and second class Chanel boutiques. By the way, already the beauty boutiques are treated as second class Chanel boutiques, Mr. Bruno Pavlovsky. And I can tell you that from personal experience because I've heard sales associates lament and complain about this that work at the Chanel beauty boutiques because they say that they get treated by their fashion boutiques colleagues and the bosses of the fashion boutiques as if the beauty boutiques were, second class. Oh, you're just selling the perfumes, whatever. And the cosmetic, you're not really, you are not on our level. Now imagine when they start introducing the VIP boutiques. So you're going to have 3 levels. You're going to have first class is the VIP boutique. Well, first class is haute couture. Always has been, always will be. First class is haute couture. Second class is VIP boutiques. Third class is normal Chanel boutiques. Fourth class is the beauty boutiques. And all 4 sell extremely expensive products. All 4 sell dreams that you can decide to believe in or not. But ultimately, he's sitting there giving interviews talking about how Chanel is the pinnacle of luxury and it's amazing and they stand behind the brand and they want to hire a bunch of new people because it's hard to sustain that quality and they want to have people under 30 that they can build up into this pinnacle of luxury fashion, and yet they're not delivering luxury fashion. They're delivering a lot of frustration to people, not because a lot of their products are not attainable. No, they're delivering frustration to a lot of people because if you're such a luxury brand and you stand behind your product and your quality, then why is your after sale non-existent?
£2
literally.
super chat from Rich Mitch. Preach.
Thank you, Rich Mitch. So kind of you. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Why is your after sale so non-existent? You're giving this illusion of, now we have this new system, 5-year bag warranty. Not on small leather goods. Why? They're also made in leather. The small leather goods are leather, just like the bags. You don't believe in your small leather goods, so the small leather goods get the regular warranty, but the bags that cost more get the 5-year warranty. But then if you read between the lines, they only guarantee hardware. So the leather wearing after just 1 month, like is the case with my little red bag, which I'm going to see what happens when I go back home to my home boutique and bring it back to my sales associate, what she's going to say. But it's a small leather good. So with leather, after that breaks and cracks after 1 month of use, where's your after sale protection of the client? If you're so luxurious and so you stand behind your quality, then why oh why do I go to Louis Vuitton if I have a problem and they literally fix it or exchange it there on the spot? They're very nonchalant and very collant about that. Very. While Chanel is like, you've surpassed the 1 month return period. So now we're going to send it off for repairs. 6 months later, I've been there. I had to go through that once in 2015 or 2014. It's all on my YouTube channel. You could go check out those videos. The drama I went through with that little bag and repairs. And then it came back with a shorter chain. I'm like, you shortened the chain. What the hell? And then they sent it off again for repairs, another 6 months or 3 months. Then it came back again, scratched up. I'm like, they have literally, Chanel, you have no after sale care when somebody has an issue with your product. And you literally take our money and then you make it impossible, almost impossible to get the money back if there's an issue. And then you got to fight for a voucher. But you really, other real luxury brands, oh, there's a problem? Honey, don't worry. Let's just exchange it right here, right now. But no, what does Chanel do? Well, Chanel ups their price 50 times a year. And then you have a problem with your bag. They have to send it for repairs, and it goes back and forth several times, depending on the country you live in. I think they have the right up to 3 times to try to repair it before you can demand at least a voucher. But by the time you have the right to demand a voucher, their prices have gone up already 5 times or 6 times. So your voucher is worth shit, basically. Because the amount of money you spent on the bag 2 years ago, and you've been fighting for the voucher with their repair systems for a year or 2 years, by that time, the amount of money you spent is worthless. Your voucher diminishes in value at Chanel with every passing price increase. So my little bag that just got cracked, or cracked itself, may I say, because I didn't do anything to it. The leather is just so bad that it cracked on its own on several spots. So that bag now went up in price. So if I even were to be given a voucher, I lost money. They don't want to give me back my money because now, the 14-day return warranty or 1 month return policy is passed because I'm here, I'm in Australia, so I couldn't return it in time. Now, so what are they going to do? So now the bag has gone up in price. If they give me a voucher for the amount that I spent for that bag, that means that I lost money because that bag now costs more after the price increase. But they're not going to offer me a voucher. They're going to offer me to repair it. How are you going to repair it? Your leather sucks. So you're going to send it off to your repairs for them to put the same leather on again, the bad quality, because it's a red bag in a particular red leather, caviar grain. You're going to still have that leather in stock to repair the bag, but then it's going to come back again in the bad leather because it's the whole batch of that leather is bad. And I know it already, and you know it. And still you're going to be like, well, we're still going to send it off to... Oh, thank you for becoming a Tier 2 member, Purple Nachos. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. And then you're going to send it off, send it back again with the bad leather again. And you know it's bad leather. I know it's bad leather, but you're still going to play the game of, well, don't worry about it. Chanel repairs everything. And then by the time the bag is back, we're going to have a second price increase. And of course, it's not going to be good, and I'll start wearing it. It's going to start cracking again. I mean, Bruno, this is not luxury. This is not being pinnacle of luxury. Sorry, it just isn't. And if you want to snob every other client that gives you any money, and you just want to talk about how great the quality is of haute couture for the one little tiny percentage of your clients, well, that's not Chanel. Chanel is not just haute couture. Then be honest. Then just stop producing everything else. Stop doing 10 collections a year. Stop doing 50,000 color palettes for makeup a year. Stop doing all that. Then just do haute couture. Then you are at the pinnacle of luxury. Then you are the top luxury brand. But you can't just ignore all the bad stuff and just kind of see the good stuff, which is shrinking. There's less and less good stuff at Chanel as time passes by, my humble opinion, because the quality is just bad. So I'm like, so then delete your pret-a-porter, delete all the capsule collections, and just stick to haute couture. And then we can talk, Bruno. Then we can talk. Annette, thank you for upgrading to tier 2 member. Then we can talk, Bruno. Because then we can be like, okay, Chanel, look at that. Look how cool this brand is. They're going back to the roots. After all, when Coco Chanel was alive, she only did haute couture. Coco Chanel did not do pret-a-porter. You could buy some brooches, like costume jewelry could be purchased, some jewelry pieces, perfumes, but there was no pret-a-porter. You went to the ateliers to get a dress made for you, custom tailored. It was after she passed away that pret-a-porter was introduced. So you want to be at the pinnacle? Delete your pret-a-porter line. Delete all that bad quality. Chanel also, Coco Chanel was not famous for her bags to begin with. So you guys, I'm not saying, hey, let's just focus on the bags. No, I've also had issues with my pre-orders of clothing, of the métier d'art clothing that was just, I pre-ordered stuff that was just terribly made, sized wrongly even. But back to the bags. Coco Chanel did not start her business as a bag maker, And this is also another thing I gotta say, you guys. We gotta stop it with the comparisons between Chanel bags and Hermes bags. It's ridiculous, and it's quite frankly embarrassing for those of you who do that. Why am I saying this? Because Hermes was born as a leather company. Hermes was born as a company that works with leather for horses, and they made bags from day one. Chanel didn't. Chanel is a couture house. Chanel was born, started off millinery, and then went into clothing. Bags came as an afterthought way later. While Hermes is literally a bag manufacturer, literally, from the get-go. You can't compare the two. You cannot compare the two. You can't. And people saying, oh, Hermes quality of bags is much better than Chanel. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. Just like Chanel's haute couture clothing is much better and will always be better than Hermes's clothing. Because Hermes is not a couture house. You see what I mean? You can't compare Chanel's clothing with Hermes's clothing. There's like no comparison. It doesn't, even the pret-a-porter Chanel stuff that is not so good quality anymore, still design-wise, it's light years better than Hermes. But Hermes doesn't do haute couture. Chanel is a couture house. So we don't compare. The same applies to bags. You do not compare Chanel bags with Hermes bags. It's like comparing Chanel couture, haute couture with Hermes jockey riding outfits. It doesn't go. It doesn't go. It doesn't go. But having said that, back to Chanel to rein it back in. Just like Julie Scott is saying, agree. Aftercare is just as important as the product. Exactly. Aftercare is just as important as the product. Hermes offers impeccable aftercare. Louis Vuitton offers impeccable aftercare. Dior also. Chanel, they're slimy about it. They make it very, very difficult for you to obtain aftercare and to get proper care and fair care. Because they're gonna, it always sounds like it's your fault. They're always going to twist it and make it about, and they're going to try to sell you the concept of, oh, well, but it's the natural aging process of the product. Honey, natural aging process of a product should not be falling apart after 24 hours of use. Anyway, so Mr. Bruno giving the interviews, like, we're not there. We're not there. I'm sorry. We're just not there. Just my humble opinion. And then also those YouTubers who are like defending these brands, like, who brainwashed you? Who brainwashed you? Are you paid by them to defend them? Like, what's wrong with you people? Seriously, wake up. Wake up. I had no words. Especially the ones that never buy in those brands, but then they make videos about them. You know who you are. Embarrassing. Anyway, getting heated. Okay, so I think that since the rise of luxury YouTubers, people wanted Chanel bags, says Nicole Stewart. Okay, anyway, you guys, I'm going to read all of these chats later when I do go in post-production, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, on this topic. It's a touchy, iffy topic. Nicole Stewart says, now YouTubers are over it because they already have Chanel bags and now no one can buy one. No, that's not true, Nicole. That is, no, that is also completely wrong. I don't know if you're pointing your finger at me now. I would still keep buying Chanel bags if the quality was good. I actually bought them, but they're falling apart, Nicole. My 22 bag peeled after 20 minutes of wear. My little tiny red caviar breaking apart. So it's not, and also don't forget, another mistake you're making there, a lot of luxury YouTubers live off of unboxing the latest, newest unicorn bag. So they're going to want to buy every season to show off on their channels that they got the newest bags. So it's not that luxury YouTubers have their Chanel bags and now they're done with their journey and now the rest of us are stuck with these ginormous prices and the luxury YouTubers are moving on to other things. No, luxury YouTubers are always going to want to have Chanel bags. You can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to want to have them always in some way, shape, or form, whether it be vintage, whether it be because they can afford to buy one or because they go in debt to buy one, doesn't matter. But they're going to want one because as long as Chanel is so popular, people are going to want to buy their bags. So I don't think that YouTubers or luxury content creators are jumping the ship or the boat now because they got their bags and everything's more expensive. But don't forget that the luxury YouTubers that started collecting their bags 15, 20 years ago, that started doing YouTube when YouTube started becoming a thing, they also grew their channels. They also grew their viewers and subscribers. What does this mean? This means that they also now earn way more money with the views that they're getting now than they used to 10 years ago when they had smaller channels. So this means that luxury YouTubers who have been around longer, they can also afford more expensive bags today than 10 years ago. So in a way, it's like the rising of the prices of certain products matches kind of also the amount of earning of certain content creators. So it's not like Chanel has outpriced itself for famous luxury YouTubers. You know what I mean? Plus they get all the brand deals, all the sponsorships in. So they're always going to be able to afford their Chanel bags. Don't you worry about them for a second. But the problem is the quality. Who is going to be honest enough to talk about the quality? Who is going to be honest enough to actually really hold the brands accountable for lack of quality? Because quite frankly, I'm not seeing many people doing that. All I'm seeing is the majority of the people out there, luxury content creators, being scared to speak the truth because they're not going to get offered their unicorn bag next season. So they're going to buy their crappy quality bags, which are going to peel. They're going to have issues with them. They're not going to tell anything to you. They're going to do their pretty little unboxings for you. Amazing, look how beautiful. Then they're going to notice that the bag has flaws. Then they're going to sell it. Yeah, they're going to sell it without saying where the flaws are. Going to get rid of the bag before it gets worse. So some unlucky person out there is going to buy the flawed bag. And they're going to have the money to buy the next bag to unbox to get even more viewers. So it's not in their interest, really, to call a brand out for lack of quality. It's not, because all they got to do is unbox it. Oh, great. Have a video, got a lot of views. The bag isn't what I expected quality-wise. I'm not going to talk about that. I'll just sell the bag on Vestiaire Collective, call it a day. And with that money, I'm going to buy myself a new one and do another unboxing. So, it's rare to find honesty on social media. Very, very rare. And then somebody dares speak up, and then other people try to shut you down. You know, how dare you speak bad about a brand? I'm like, who told you you got to pledge your allegiance to the brand? Who told who? What do you owe the brand? Why are you brainwashed to believe that you owe a brand anything? Why? They owe you something because you're the one giving them money. They're not paying you. You're paying them. You guys, the world we live in, I can't. It is so twisted. It is so upside down. It is so bad. It's so bad. And we've come to the point where we're ready to battle each other out, to defend the brands we love. The brand doesn't give a shit about you. No brand does. They want your money. They couldn't care less if you're healthy, if you're sick, if you're dying in a bed, in a coma. They don't care. They don't care. Don't bother them. They just come in, spend money, go out quickly. We need a big turnover. We need to spend more money. Come on, you guys. Wake up and smell the coffee. It's enough already with the lying, with the protecting, defending the brand. For what? For what? What are you going to get out of that? Because you think they're going to show you some empathy? Good luck with that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love and subscribe.